Hello everyone, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and very good afternoon. First of all, I would like to thank the organizer for accepting my paper. And secondly, I would like to thank Chairperson who gives me a time to talk and present our research finding on Chinese state capitalism in Southeast Asia and its political implications. Again, this paper is an outcome of research funded by international research grant, Venus University. And this paper has been quoted with my teams, I, Lili Yuliadi Arnakim, and Sultan Rafizul Karnain. On this topic, I would like to limit myself on three issues. First is in China, state capitalism. The second, Chinese investment and its political implication in Southeast Asia, and finally try to sum up the points of this paper. The idea of state capitalism is becoming very much interesting nowadays because it's a combination between capitalists and rule of the state. As we know that China and Southeast Asia historically was very close in trade and economic relations. In the post-Cold War era, the amicable economic relation between China and Southeast Asia was mainly reflected in several collaborations, like for example, ASEAN-China Free Trade Area, SCFTA, that was signed in 2002, then was also enhanced by the framework of the ASEAN-China Trade Pact in 2015. Also more recently, the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership that was signed in 2020. However, it can be said that the relationship between the two, China and Southeast Asia, ASEAN especially, reached a whole new level when China began embracing the new neighborhood diplomacy. And ASEAN was among the region with whom China wished to become a good neighbor too. And of course, the Belt and Road Initiative that was launched in 2013 within the framework of community and common destiny. And therefore, this paper aims to analyze the influence of China's state capitalism in Southeast Asia, especially ASEAN member state. And basically, this paper is based on qualitative method. I use primary and secondary data. In analyzing this, the researcher applied thematic analysis. By this method of analysis, we will be able to gain insight and knowledge on Chinese state capitalism and its political implication in Southeast Asia. What we found basically from this research, the word state capitalism is becoming very much familiar in China as well as in Southeast Asia. It has been known as a system where the means of productions are managed by the state through state-owned enterprise or government-linked companies. The Chinese model essentially consists of two main aspects of the capitalist or the state capitalism. The first is the government would encourage, propagate, and embrace the core principle of free market, for example, competitions, privatization, and entrepreneurship. The second, the Chinese model emphasizes the rule of the state over politics and the economy, and in promoting state-owned enterprises. So this is called Chinese model of the state capitalism. In regard to China's case, one of the main points of concern is that how vital industries such as energy, infrastructure, and banking were not involved in the big wave of privatizations. Many of these state-backed companies have grown to become world's business giant, becoming very big companies. And today, out of 124 Chinese firms in the Fortune 500 list, almost 3/4 of them are state-owned enterprises. So therefore, the Chinese companies were very big, consisted of the government's links companies or the state-owned enterprises. And we found as well with its ever-growing military and economic power, China has tremendously extended its presence to many corners of the world, instilling and maintaining its influence along the way. This is where the rule of its state-owned enterprises become more than just advancing its domestic economy. China's outward foreign direct investment, or FDI, for example, has always been growing from year to year. To put in numbers, for example, in 2001, it only spent 7 billion USD. That number became 101 billion in 2013 and becoming 116 in 2014 and more than 145 billions in 2015, making the country as the second largest source of FDI in the world behind US, and now is becoming head of Japan. And this is what we know, that China is becoming a giant company, a giant economic in the world. And in the case of Chinese capitalism in Southeast Asia, ASEAN-China Free Trade Area, or ASEAN-FTA, was signed, as I said earlier, and then followed by ASEAN-China Trade Pact in 2015, and Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership that was signed in 2000 in the framework of neighborhood diplomacy. What are the implications? ASEAN as whole, 10 countries, now is very much close to China, despite the fact in the earlier era, Southeast Asian countries look at China as a threat. But right now it's becoming very close and friendly relations with China. There are significant factors, especially in enhancing the China-ASEAN relation or Sino-ASEAN relations. First, if you look at it, geographical location, there are immediate neighbors. China shares land borders with Laos, Myanmar, Philippines, and maritime borders with Malaysia, Brunei, Indonesia, and of course the Philippines. And historically, if you look at in South China Sea, for example, as well as Southeast Asia, the relation was very close. Before the adventure of the colonialism from the Europe, for example, the center of commerce and trade in the Asia, it is a triangle. What they call is China, Southeast Asia, and India. So therefore, is very much well recorded. Before the arrival of the Europeans, the Chinese has good relations with Southeast Asian countries. Second, in terms of economy, of course, China has been an ASEAN largest trading partner since 2011. And in fact, in 2020, ASEAN for the first time ever became China's largest trading partners with total trade values amounting to 731.9 billion American dollar. It is very huge amount of money. On the investment front, for example, China is also a dominant player within ASEAN. To put things into perspective, China was the fourth largest source of direct or foreign direct investment for ASEAN member states, collectively at billion USD, behind US and Japan and European Union. Of course, the US is still the largest foreign direct investment. Finally, from the sociological aspect, the multitude of Chinese ethnic groups spread throughout ASEAN is often used as a diplomatic channel for China to enhance the relations between China and Southeast Asia. This is so-called diaspora Chinese in Southeast Asia. So therefore, the three factors, as I mentioned earlier, is becoming triggering factor that cement and enhance the relations between China and Southeast Asia. One of the most important investment that has been proposed and implemented through BIR framework, that is Belt and Road Initiative in Southeast Asia. So Chinese state capitalism national interest, and its influence in Southeast Asia are three variables that best intersect on Belt and Road initiatives. Of course, BRI introduced by Xi Jinping, and it mainly focuses on the projects such as railway, bridges, seaport, airports, and highways, mostly infrastructure. And the Belt and Road Initiative is targeted to be completed by 2049. So almost another 29 years to come under the framework of Belt and Road Initiative. So BRI in Southeast Asia has been recorded that Southeast Asia as the region, for example, has been one of the largest beneficiaries of BIR project. Indonesia alone almost is 171 billion USD. Vietnam's below Indonesia, of course, 152 billions. Cambodia, 104 billions. Malaysia, 98 billions USD, and Singapore, 70 billions. Of course, this one is fluctuate, yeah, in every years. And Indonesia, I was here, is increasing more and more as long as the other countries in Southeast Asia. And therefore, ultimately, Chinese ambitions with the BRR as well as its adherence to state capitalism line up perfectly with its national interests and attempted world order interests. So China, by this BRI, is not only getting economic dividends or economic return, as of course economically broaden its portfolio across the region and the globe, but political interest as well, as it is something to do with its ever-growing rivalry with the United States. For example, the abundant investment fund given to Southeast Asian countries was certainly enough to guarantee their allegiance, their obedience to China. They will definitely follow the China, close to China. This also falls into major issues, as doing otherwise wouldn't necessarily threaten Chinese prosperity and power, but certainly would leave the US free to affirm its influence in the region. So basically, Chinese try to be more influence on these regions rather than what was before, where the United States dominated these regions. So as a political implications of this BRI, currently we have seen that China dominated the interests of being world order or depender or partner or dominance, hegemons in Southeast Asia. As a result, I would like to conclude that Chinese state capitalism has proven to be more than a just means to realize solid domestic economy. It also able to gain political and diplomatic clout through all investment it made abroad, especially in the framework of BRI, Belt and Road initiatives. It is also safe to say that put together this effort of instilling influence in the region will serve as provisions in dealing with the United States in the future. With that, I would like to thank, and if there is any question, please. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.